Hi, Jim and Lynda here. We are a husband and wife real estate team from Horizon, West Florida. If you're watching this video, then you probably are thinking about moving to Orlando.
And you know what? It can be overwhelming and no one wants to make any mistakes. So in this video, we want to share some of the common misconceptions or misunderstandings so that you can learn from others' experience as you plan your move. So to help you in your search, we've created a quiz to help you find the best place based on your unique answers to the questions. Just click on the link in the description, and if you have any more questions, please feel free to give us a call.
First thing was a big one for us, renting versus buying.
Yeah, renting versus buying is a big one. A lot of people want to rent in order to try to learn the area, figure out where they really want to wind up. They feel like it has to be a forever decision.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's the reality of owning a home. It doesn't have to be a forever decision. If you work with us, if you work with a qualified agent, you're gonna find a place. You're gonna find a neighborhood. You're not gonna have to do it on your own. What we found is that renting is very difficult. There are a lot of strict standards that landlords have in the area. There's an awful lot of more commercial property managers and landlords, and sometimes it's like you're applying for a mortgage.
And you know, the other thing is, if you're renting and you don't like the area, you're going to have to move. If you buy and you don't like the area, you're going to have to move. But you also have equity that you have now in that home. If you're renting and you love it, you don't own the home, so now you have to move again and look. If you buy and you love it, you have your place to stay. You have your home. Another big mistake people make is they don't research the areas enough.
Or they don't know how to research.
Exactly, you don't know how.
It's overwhelming when you're trying to do it yourself and you don't realize
you really can't tell
where they fit into each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So take the quiz and we can help narrow down the search for you.
Another mistake might be trying to make too close of a comparison between Orlando and where you're moving from. And some of the migration kind of data shows that the biggest majority of people that move to the Orlando area are from the New York metro area. So that would be New York and New Jersey. It's different.
Yeah.
There's not a lot that you can compare. Getting into New York City is very different than getting into Orlando.
Very different. I wouldn't drive into New York City.
In New York City, there's bridges, there's tunnels, there's trains, there's the subway.
Transportation is very different. It's much more readily available in the New York area, so that is more of an
And you don't really need that here.
And you assume, and a big common mistake is that people assume that all cities are the same way, and Orlando is not like that.
Also, where we came from in North Jersey, each town had its own school district. Each town, the school districts they changed within a county, let's say within Bergen County or within Essex County. The towns could be very different because their small school district was very different and managed very differently. Here, the school districts are by the county. So Orange County is most of the Orlando area, and then parts of Seminole, parts of Lake County, parts of Osceola and Polk County. Each of those counties have different districts with one centralized school district leadership and management. And so there's a lot of similarities between the schools, but then each suburb or community within Orange County even has its own schools. They don't have separate school districts for it. It's all part of Orange County School District, but they have their own leadership, right? They have their own principal and their management, the administration within that school for elementary level or whatever. So comparing, it's hard to make the comparison from, let's say a Winter Garden to a Ridgewood, right?
Right.
Or Westfield to Winter Park. There's some comparison in some ways, but very hard to compare. And I think a lot of people, what I see in some of the Facebook chatter is, I want a school that's as good as the school in my community. Well, tell us what that means. Like what
It means different things to different
What are you
people.
comparing it against,
Correct.
right?
And people will naturally compare because it's what you know, it's what you feel comfortable with, it's what you feel safe with. So you will naturally compare, but it's also good to understand where's the scale for you? What's at the top of the scale, what's at the bottom of the scale, so that instead of comparing, you can just find information that you need to move forward in the areas here.
Yeah, I think another kind of misconception or mistake that people have is that Orlando's just tourism,
Yeah.
right? And there's no real neighborhoods. It's all tourism. It's all theme parks even.
Yeah.
And it goes really well beyond that.
It really does. And it's growing
Obviously,
and
that's a huge part of the area. These are huge employers. They are huge draws with close to 80 million people a year visiting Walt Disney World. But it's not all about tourism.
no, there's lake life, communities here. There's just so much to do that is not theme park.
The majority is full-time residents throughout the area here in Orlando. And so it's not just about tourism. Kind of related to that is it's also not just about old people or retirement communities.
Like, yeah.
I think that's another misconception kind of about Florida in general. It's a great place to retire.
Great place to retire because there's so much here. That's an active lifestyle. There's golfing. There's a lot of things that people wait till they retire to do that they can do every day here, even when they're not retired.
And you know, Orlando is about 3 million people as far as its population goes. And so there's a great kind of spread of diverse age groups and demographics and every other kind of thing. There are a lot of 55 plus or active adult communities. We didn't really see that a whole lot where we moved from in northern New Jersey.
Right.
I don't remember seeing a lot of 55 plus communities, right? So you'll see that here, but those are great communities because they cater to an active lifestyle for older adults.
And that really is a theme within Florida, within the Orlando area, is this active lifestyle.
And I think coupled with that would be understanding homeowner associations, which are very big here because there's so many developments, there's so many new construction developments, even the 55 plus communities, there's bylaws, there's guidance for who can qualify to live in that 55 plus community, right? And so not understanding the HOA or making the mistake of not looking into the HOA and their requirements. Some of our customers that we had a great time showing them homes, we wanted to make sure the HOA would allow decorations for the holidays.
Right, they're big holiday decorators.
Put a
which is
lot
so
of stuff
fun.
out, which is a lot of
And
fun.
they didn't want to be limited. So
But
they-
not every HOA will allow you to just willy-nilly put things out, and they also kind of control when you can put decorations out.
That's right.
So you can't start putting your Christmas decorations out in August
Right.
or
And-
September.
And it is good to know to do your research because, you know, when you're working with a good agent, we will help you find what's important to you and help you know that that's going to be available to you in your home because they're not all the same.
You know, I think another possible misconception would be that because you've been on vacation in Orlando, maybe you've stayed in a resort area, that you may think that all of the area is safe or all of it's clean like it is around the resort areas. And for the most part, it is very safe. But just like any other metropolitan area, there are areas that have crime that are not as clean or not as well taken care of. And so kind of understanding that, all of that data you can find online yourself. You can Google safety records when you do searches on homes.com or Zillow or realtor.com or Redfin. They'll all have those statistics. You can go to a site like niche.com and that'll have safety ratings. So you can really find all of that. I know in speaking with some recent prospective customers that are planning a move from Massachusetts, one of the things was, you know, we can look at a place like Winter Garden, but how do we know what part of Winter Garden to look at? Or is all of Winter Garden the same? And Winter Garden itself is very big.
Yes.
Horizon West, which is part of Winter Garden and part of Windermere, is 58,000 as far as its population. So we're talking about big areas. So there's a big kind of spread between the communities,
And you will see that. You will see that if you're on Zillow and you're thinking about moving, so you're looking, you'll see Winter Garden, you'll see very different prices.
yeah. But chances are if you see a house for 200,000 in Winter Garden, it's not in a nice area.
Might not be.
You're not finding
where
that
you want
one
to
house that you're hitting the lottery and nobody else figured it out. You're looking in an area that maybe isn't the greatest section. And so that's kind of one way to take a look at it, I think, along with some of these rating sites. Just understanding where the property values are.
It's not.
And especially in comparison to maybe like the average sale price.
The suburbs of Florida are very big, and you cannot assume that it is the same within that whole suburb because they're all so big. It can be very different from one side to the other side of that town. Winter Garden, Windermere, whatever it is. Which, yes, this sounds very confusing, so I want to remind you that we have a quiz that will help you based on your lifestyle, what you like, what your interests are. If you want to go down to the comments, we'll put the link there for you, and a couple minutes we'll get you through, and we'll give you a couple areas that we would recommend would be based on what you like, where you can start your search.
Yeah, and obviously at any time, feel free to give us a call. If you have a question and you're just not sure, you're not obligated to do anything. You know, we'd be happy to help you and give you some information. Another kind of misconception or mistake that I think people make is timing the market. You can't time the market.
No.
The markets are unpredictable just by their very nature. And I think in certain parts of the country, there are seasonal markets. So, you know, maybe it'll go down in the fall because of the weather, and, you know, there'll be just different timings. Here there's maybe, well, that's another good point, but there's not seasons per se. Right. It's sunshine. It's fairly nice all the time. So you're not going to get those weather seasons so much. We have the holidays, and those are seasons. They kind of mark the calendar and that kind of thing. But timing the market, maybe this is even just where we are in this point in time. We've heard a lot of people say they're going to wait for the market to crash, or they've heard from a lot of experts that the values are going to drop significantly in the next 6 months. People have been saying that for the past 2.5 years. And not only have they not dropped, they've gone up. And in some areas they've gone up just a little, in some areas they've gone up just a little bit more than that. But they're going up. Certainly during the 2020 through 2022 time period, we saw property values appreciate about 40% to 60%. That is significant.
Yes.
And so is it going up at that level? No. But is it dropping 10 or 20 or 30%? Not at all. So timing the market or expecting a crash, I don't see it happening. So be careful if that's what is having you stay on the fence. Maybe another thing would think that the weather's always perfect. Is the weather always perfect? No. There's a lot of sunshine. There's a lot of humidity.
With seasons, we may not have seasons, but we do have like rainy season where it may rain like 10 minutes every afternoon. You'll pull up your 10-day forecast and it'll be like every single day will say from 4 o'clock on chance of showers, because there's a chance. It may happen, it may not happen. The weather is not always perfect, but it is beautiful most of the time.
It's gorgeous most of the time. So it's not always perfect, but it is kind of nice a lot of the time. And so if you're considering relocating to Orlando, especially to the Horizon West area or the western side of the Orlando metro, we'd love to help you find your next home. We'd love to help you achieve that lifestyle you're looking for here in Florida. Reach out, give us a call, send an email. Certainly look at some of the resources we have available in the links below, and we'd love to be in touch. So once again, it's Jim and Lynda Lloyd, and we look forward to meeting you.